Come on, sweetheart. You really think that pretty face can talk its way out of this? You want this to go away? The officer sneered, stepping closer until his shadow swallowed her. Then do what I say. Show a little cooperation. The heat blazed over Silverton, Nevada, as a silver Vespa sliced through light traffic on Grant Avenue. At the handlebars rode a black woman in her late 30s, Danielle Mercer, Deputy Chief of Police. But today, she wasn't the badge, just a sister racing to deliver her siblings' maid of honor dress. For once, she felt free. No radio, no reports, just the hum of her scooter and the open road. She rolled through a quiet intersection, unaware that freedom was about to end. Flashing red and blue lights filled her mirror. Danielle sighed and pulled to the curb, her brief peace shattered. Two officers stepped out. The first, a thick-mustached white man with a sunburned face and a name tag that read Harlan, strutted forward with the confidence of someone too comfortable in his power. His younger partner, Price, lingered behind him, looking bored and half embarrassed. Well, well, Harlan drawled, his tone greasy and mocking. What's the rush, lady? He didn't ask for a license or registration. Instead, he leaned on her scooter, deliberately invading her space, eyes crawling over her. You know you ran that stop sign back there, right? Pretty serious violation. Danielle kept her cool, but her gut told her this wasn't about safety. Danielle adjusted her sunglasses, steady and calm. I apologize, officer. I'm on my way to my sister's wedding, and I guess I was a bit preoccupied, she said evenly. Harlan chuckled, a low, ugly sound that made Price glance away. He tilted his head and smirked. A wedding, huh? I bet that's expensive. You know, a ticket like this, plus court fees, could really ruin your weekend. Not to mention, he tapped the side of her scooter with his knuckles. We might have to check if this little ride's even registered properly. That could take a while. Danielle's stomach tightened. He wasn't talking about paperwork. He was circling her like a vulture. But maybe, Harlan continued, lowering his voice, we can find a simpler way to resolve this. You know, a little on-the-spot donation to the policeman's ball helps us, helps you. His grin widened. You get to your wedding on time, and this whole thing just disappears. Then his tone shifted, darker, filthier. Or, he said, stepping closer until his breath hit her cheek, maybe you don't have cash. Maybe you've got other ways to show a little gratitude. You want to go, sweetheart? Then let me touch you. Just a little cooperation between friends. Have you ever met an officer who thought their uniform gave him the right to demand whatever they wanted? What would you do if a so-called officer used his power to demand something unthinkable, just to let you go free? Before we go further, what city or country are you watching from right now? Drop it in the comments. We love seeing where our viewers are tuning in from. And if you believe no woman should ever have to trade her dignity for her freedom, smash that like button and subscribe to Story Arc, because standing up to abuse of power starts with telling these stories. Danielle froze. The desert heat around her turned cold. This was it. The cancer she'd been tracking in her department for a year. The whispers, the rumors, right here in front of her, wearing a badge. Every muscle in her body screamed to end it now. She could flash her own badge, watch the color drain from his face, have him in front of internal affairs by nightfall. But that would only catch one man, not the system that made him this bold, this brazen. She needed to see how deep this rot went. I don't think so, officer, she said firmly. Just write the ticket. The smile vanished from Harlan's face. His eyes hardened. Playing tough, huh? You think you're smart? He shoved off her scooter, posture tightening. All right then, you want to do this by the book? We'll do it by my book. He snapped his fingers at Price. Run her name, and while you're at it, check the VIN. This scooter looks suspicious, maybe stolen. Sarge, she just ran a stop sign, Price began. You questioning me? Price, Harlan barked. Check it. Danielle stayed silent as they put on their little act. Price hesitated but obeyed, while Harlan grabbed her keys and rifled through her scooter, searching for anything to twist against her. He straightened up and pointed to the garment bag strapped behind her. What's in there? A dress, Danielle replied, her tone flat and unshaken. For the wedding. We'll see about that, Harlan sneered. He grabbed the bag roughly and unzipped it, tugging out the delicate navy blue silk gown. Without care, he let the fabric drag against the dusty ground, the hem picking up grime. Danielle's heart clenched, but it wasn't about the dress. It was about the message, the disrespect, the smug look on his face as he stepped on something beautiful just to prove he could. She bit her tongue, jaw tightening until her teeth hurt. Okay, that's it, Harlan said, the cruel edge in his voice making Price flinch. You're being uncooperative, and you're driving a potentially stolen vehicle. You're coming with us. He yanked out a pair of handcuffs with a theatrical flick. You wanted the book? He said, eyes glinting. You're getting the whole library. The cold steel locked around her wrists with a sharp click. Danielle stared past him, past his smirk, past the patrol car, her eyes fixed on the Silverton skyline in the distance. She was going to miss the wedding, but she was about to witness something far bigger, the exposure of rot at the core of her own department. The drive to the Ninth Precinct was slow and mocking. Harlan and Price sat in the front, laughing, leaving the plastic divider open so she could hear every word. Princess Vespa, Harlan snorted. Bet she thought she could talk her way out. Yeah, Price said weakly, forcing a laugh. Guess not. Danielle stayed silent, memorizing everything. They pulled into the precinct lot. The air smelled of oil and stale coffee. Harlan opened her door and said smugly, Welcome to the Ninth Precinct, sweetheart. Inside the precinct, the air reeked of coffee and neglect. Harlan paraded Danielle in like a trophy. Behind the desk, Lieutenant Denton barely looked up from his newspaper. What'd you drag in this time, Harlan? Denton grunted, his tone more bored than curious. This one thought she was above the law, Harlan announced proudly, puffing up his chest. Ran a stop sign, gave us lip, and her scooter looks hot. We're holding her for obstruction. Denton didn't look at Danielle, didn't ask for proof, didn't question a thing. He just waved his hand lazily. Fine, process her and stick her in holding cell B. Paperwork can wait. And just like that, the lie became law. They took her purse, her phone, and her sunglasses, logging them with the same indifference as tossing junk into a bin. Price handled the garment bag awkwardly. What do we do with this, Sarge? He asked. Denton shrugged without looking up. Toss it in property. If she's lucky, the rats won't use it as a bed. Harlan laughed, a harsh, mean laugh that echoed off the concrete walls. They shoved Danielle down a dim hallway into a cold concrete cell. The door clanged shut behind her. Through the small barred window, she watched them laughing and carrying on, as if she were just another piece of paperwork. Time crawled by inside that grimy cell. An hour passed, then 2. Danielle sat quietly, listening. No one checked on her. No one offered her water or her one phone call. She had been forgotten. Just another name on a sheet. Another face behind bars. But Danielle wasn't some helpless detainee. As she began planning her next move, footsteps echoed down the corridor. The cell door rattled, and the familiar faces of Harlan and Price appeared behind them. Harlan unlocked the door, smirking as he stepped inside. Well, he drawled, his voice slick with arrogance. Had enough of the VIP treatment? Your sister's probably cutting the cake by now. Real shame you missed it. He inched closer. But lucky for you, we've been talking. We're busy men, and we don't really have time for all that paperwork. His grin widened. Maybe if you could come up with, say, $500 in cash, we could make this all go away. No charges. Maybe even give you a ride to the reception. He paused, lowering his voice until it turned poisonous. Or maybe we work out a different kind of deal. You let me touch you, sweetheart, and we forget this ever happened. Price looked away, uneasy, but said nothing. The silence was suffocating. Danielle rose slowly, her movements measured, her voice calm. You're right, Officer Harlan, she said softly. I have learned a lot today. Harlan smirked, thinking she was about to comply. I've learned that officers from the Ninth Precinct conduct illegal stops, extort civilians, and detain them without cause, she continued. I've learned that Lieutenant Denton signs off on it, and that both of you think you're untouchable. Harlan's smirk faltered. What the hell are you talking about? I'm talking about violation of Penal Code Section 148A, resisting or obstructing a public officer which you're fabricating, she said, her words sharp and deliberate. I'm also talking about Penal Code Sections 67 and 68, bribery of an executive officer, which you just attempted for the second time. And let's not forget SPD General Order 3.45, conduct unbecoming an officer. Each line landed like a hammer. Harlan's smirk faltered completely. His face drained of color, and for the first time he looked genuinely rattled. Price froze beside him, his mouth slightly open, eyes flicking back and forth between the two of them. How did this black woman, dressed in jeans and a t-shirt, know exact penal codes and internal policies? Who was she? You have one phone call, she said coldly. You might want to use it to contact your union rep, but first you're going to bring me my property. Price stumbled out of the cell like a frightened recruit hurrying down the hall. Moments later, he returned with Danielle's purse, her phone, and the now crumpled garment bag. He placed them carefully on the bench, his hands trembling as if setting down sacred objects. Harlan stayed frozen by the door, his face pale and his confidence slipping away with every breath. The tension in the room was thick enough to choke on. Just then, Lieutenant Denton appeared at the end of the corridor, drawn by the raised voices. "What's going on down here?" he barked, but when he saw Danielle standing tall, unshackled now, her eyes sharp and steady, something in his expression changed. He wasn't looking at a scared civilian anymore. He was looking at authority. Danielle opened her purse, her movements deliberate and calm. She didn't pull out cash. Instead, she withdrew a thin leather case and flipped it open. Inside, gleaming beneath the flickering light, was a gold badge, the badge of the Deputy Chief of Police. "Officer Harlan, Officer Price, Lieutenant Denton," she said, her voice steady as stone. "My name is Deputy Chief Danielle Mercer, and you are all in a world of trouble." The reaction was instant. Price went white, nearly stumbling backward. Denton froze in disbelief, his mouth opening but no words forming. Harlan's entire body deflated, his swagger gone, replaced by naked panic. Deputy Chief," he stammered. "Ma'am, this is all." "There is no misunderstanding," Danielle snapped, her tone cutting like a blade. "You thought I was a nobody, someone you could bully, threaten, and humiliate. You treated me the way you've treated countless others who didn't have a badge to protect them. You disgraced this department. You disgraced this city." She pulled out her personal phone and dialed a number. The room was dead silent. "Chief, it's Mercer," she said into the phone. "I'm at the 9th Precinct. I need an internal affairs team here immediately. I've just personally witnessed multiple felonies committed by our own officers." She paused, listening. "Yes, our officers. I'll secure the scene." Hanging up, she turned her gaze back to the three men who now looked utterly broken. "As of this moment," she said, "you're all suspended, pending criminal and internal investigation. Hand over your badges and weapons." None of them dared to argue. Harlan unclipped his badge and gun with shaking hands, setting them on the desk. Price followed, pale and silent. Denton hesitated, then did the same. Danielle stood at the center of the room, no longer the woman they mocked, but justice itself. The three men stared at her, the black woman they tried to humiliate, now revealed as one of the most powerful figures in the department. "Deputy Chief," Harlan stammered. "Ma'am, please. It was a misunderstanding." She cut him off. "A misunderstanding? You used your badge to prey on people. You thought power made you untouchable. But this," she lifted her cuffed wrist, "is what accountability looks like." No one spoke. She faced them one last time. "This department is sick," she said quietly. "But today, the cure begins." She picked up her wrinkled garment bag and walked out as the precinct fell silent. Behind her, internal affairs was already on their way. Danielle Mercer had missed a wedding, but she delivered justice, cleansing her department one racist, corrupt cop at a time. If you believe that no one, not even a cop, is above the law, hit like and subscribe to Story Arc, because accountability isn't revenge, it's justice.